winter, but quite mild.
Australia has no winter.
Yeah, but I mean season.
Let's invite the others. Welcome, dear friends, to course number 20. I hope that all of you are okay, and I'm really happy that we start a new course.
Louis says hello.
I hope that all of you had a nice time the last 3 weeks. We just came back on Shabbat's morning from the Black Forest. It was beautiful. And coming back to work, and really happy to be here. And we are going to start our new course. Before we shall start, I'll just remind you to send me the verses. Doug sent me, and Della sent me, and I'm really waiting for the other verses from you. As I reminded, it's 5 different verses that you want for your friends and family. After you send me, I'm making slides, and then I'm sending it to you back, so you will confirm that this is okay. Victor also sent me, of course. Victor was the first one to send. And then I'm making the videos in order to dedicate them for your friends, family, as you mentioned. So we're waiting for your emails. And thank you very much for participating in this small project. Let's hope that all of us, all of you can bless your friends, and then we can continue with Bible Eli in also other directions. Thank you very much, and let's start. As always, we start with our blessing, and let's say hello to Doug. Doug, how are you? Everything is okay? How are you feeling, dear friend?
Ellie. Oh, I just finished working outside for, must have been 4 hours or so. So I hope I look okay.
You look great.
Thank you. I will be in port again tomorrow, so my carport is nearly all clean.
Did you get the message that I sent you about the verses?
No, not yet. I haven't had a chance to look at email much today.
Okay.
But I'll look for it. Thank you.
No problem, my friend, and you're more than welcome to bless us, and let us start. Bevakasha.
Okay, nothing more to hear about the Schwarzwald, though.
I'm
glad you had a good time.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. It was, as I said to many friends that I've met, it was a heaven for us and for our kids, or a heaven for our kids and for us. It's better to say like this, but it's an amazing place, you know. It's no matter where you drive, you can see beautiful and really affordable places. And
did you get
really
the music I sent you?
I'm sorry?
Did you get the music I sent you?
Yeah, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Toda. Thank you very much, my friend. And let us start. Doug, coming back to you. Let's read the blessing. Go ahead.
Ki mala haaretz dea et Adonai kamayim v'hasim.
Amen, dear friend. And let's start from the beginning. The beginning of creation starts with the first verse of the Bible. As you can see, I gave you 2 main translations of the verse, and it's really important. Let's read the verse and the translation.
Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shemayim va'et haaretz.
Excellent, יפה מאוד. And As I mentioned, it could be two options of reading, or that Bereshit, translated in the beginning, as it's, by the way, in the Septuagint, in the if we're calling the LXX, the translation of the Torah to Greek, and from that point it continued to the translations that we can see today. Another option, which is relates to the word Bereshit. The word Bereshit is starting a construct chain in Hebrew, and then the first verse of the Bible is not a sentence, it's a description, or description of time, or description of situation. It depends on the commentaries. Some takes the second sentence of creation and the Spirit of God flying at the land, and takes it as the first sentence of the Bible. And some even claim that the first sentence of the Bible is the third verse. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In order to say this, it's not just to read Bereshit as a construct chain, it's also to take the word bara to remain the same word, but it's to read it as Bereshit bro Elohim, not Bereshit bara Elohim, and then this makes it a construct chain. Two main readings, one of Rashi and one of Ibn Ezra, that creates this distinction and make the second or the third sentence as the first sentence of the Bible, and not what we can see here. If we take the first and the main translation, what we have here is a title. There was a point of time that God created the world. When I'm saying the world, that means that heaven and earth are not the up and down places that we can see. It's a merism. It takes us to, it's like a title, the creation of the world by God. Okay, this is what we can see here in the first verse. Another interesting question is about Elohim. Elohim appears in what we're calling pluralis majestic. It's a plural of honor, since the verb is in singular, and Elohim, the word itself in Hebrew, appears in a plural form. Of course, this created another reading of another religion, Christianity, when Elohim is actually, as I understand, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So this is something which is really important. And in order to discuss this beautiful idea of how to understand the word Elohim, I also brought the source that I didn't ask you to read, but while I prepared the lecture, I thought it must be on our lecture, and this is this one from the book of John. And I'm going to ask dear Alex to read it to us. Alex, can you read it to us? And
Yeah.
after reading, Alex, if you can explain, how do you understand the first verse? How do you read it?
Okay, begin. Only first verse now.
No, read everything, and then
Okay.
explain, according to the first verse, what do you understand? What was created here?
Mhm. Bereshit haya hadavar, v'hadavar haya im ha-Elohim, ve'Elohim haya hadavar. Hu haya bereshit im ha-Elohim. Hakol nihya el yadav, umi bal adaf. Lo nihya kol esher nihya. Bo hayu haim ve'ha haim היו האור לבני האדם. והאור מאיר בחושך, והחושך לא השיגו.
Excellent. How do you
Ellie,
understand the
just a
word
comment.
adavar? Okay. Yes, Rod.
In the Greek, that's the common Greek of Alexander the Great, the expression referred here as the word was God is not actually what the Greek says. In the
Okay.
Moffat translation, he says the word was divine because there was no definite article associated with the theos in the predicate.
Oh, it's quite interesting. We can see here in this, even in this translation, because it says Ha Elohim, Im Ha Elohim. So it's a we can say supreme God, Jehovah, with a definite article. And next, where Elohim. So this is not definite article. So it means, as Rodney mentioned, divine nature. And hadavar, logos, yeah, in Greek language, hadavar was divine nature, was spiritual. So we can see even here difference, because one Elohim with a definite article, we can say it's Jehovah, and other Elohim, it's logos, what we believe it's Jesus.
Okay, so you understand hadavar as Yeshua.
Yes.
No, this one is Jehovah,
Hadavar, yes.
the supreme,
Word.
the supreme God.
But if you,
But other one, next one.
Ellie, if you keep reading in the chapter, you'll find other references that explain verse 1. For instance, John says, no man has seen God at any time, but the singly created God, and that's what the Greek says, is the one that has explained him. So we're talking about two different individuals here. Jackie doesn't believe that, of course, but this is what the Greek of John chapter 1 actually brings out. We're talking about two different individuals, and Revelation 3:14 says a similar thing, that the Amen was the beginning of the creation by God. So Christians believe that Jesus was created, that he didn't always exist.
Okay, Jackie mentioned verse 14 in John, in chapter 1. I'm just looking at the verse. As written, הדבר נהיה בשר ושכן בתוכנו, ואנחנו ראינו את כבודו, כבוד בן יחיד מלפני אביו, מלא חסד ואמת. הדבר is actually Yeshua, it's the Son, or the honor of the Son, as it's written here. Let's hear also other voices. If Jackie is with us, she can speak. Let's give her the opportunity. Thank you very much, Alex and Rod. תודה רבה. Jackie? We can hear you, dear friend. Your volume just is off. Jackie? Let's see.
Jackie's correct in her in the chat box where she said that Jesus was not created; he always was.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to speak with her. Jackie? Trying to unmute you. Okay, how about now? No, still we can't hear you. Is your headphone are connected? You don't have a head, but can you hear me? You hear everyone, but we can't hear you. Okay, so it's really important for me to understand. Jackie wrote, I'm a Christian and I definitely do not believe that Yeshua was created. That means that he was forever. Okay, this is your meaning, Jackie? Okay.
Colossians 1:15 quite
Mhm.
clear says that he was a beginning of God's creation.
Colossians 1:15.
1:15.
I think you're
Let me just
misinterpreting.
check this one.
Hebrews, also in Hebrews, I think Hebrews 13, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Okay, let's see. Colossians 1. That is the firstborn of each creation. This is in Colossians. I also saw this verse today. I didn't understand it so well, so I decided not to bring it. I must say that one of the books that I found, and I must say I really missed to see, is a book that called Traditions of the Bible. Is written by James Kugel. His Hebrew name is Yaakov Kaduri. And in Traditions of the Bible, you can see Jewish and non-Jewish sources that relates to verses of the Bible in the main stories. So he brought also Colossians, and he brought, of course, John. So while I prepared the lecture, I decided to bring John. Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for giving us this small discussion about the idea. And it seems to be that we have two approaches. One, that Yeshua was from the beginning and he was not created. The other, that he was created in the beginning. So two different approaches. That means that, and we're going to see, by the way, more approaches today from, I would say, the Jewish point of view. By the way, one of the questions, as we're about to see in the next verse, is whether there was something before the creation or not. If the world was created from something or from three elements that they were there before or not. I'm really, really happy about the discussion that you have about the situation, and that still you can all be tolerant for the other opinions of the others, and something which is really important. I think this is the main idea of Bible Eli. Let us move to the next one. Just I will clear the drawings and move to our dear friend Della. Della, how are you?
I'm fine, and I got the scriptures. I found those, and thank you so much. They're so nice. You did a good job.
Thank you very much. So just send me confirmation that I can video them, and then I will start to do it. That's something formal, you know. I checked in the rules, though that we are good friends, but I checked it, you know, the rules of when you want to publish videos. So you need, of course, the permission of the one that send them. So just send me confirmation, and I will start.
I give you permission. You may use them. They look very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. תודה רבה. So this is your verse, בבקשה.
והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וכל, I'm stumbling over that one. וחושך
חושך, יפה.
על פני תהום ורוח אלוהים מרחף kefet al pnei hamayim.
יפה מאוד, excellent, excellent. And so the questions that we have, it's first of all, what is Tohu Vavohu? And I will try to explain through the readings of Isaiah 34 and Jeremiah 4. Another questions is, what is darkness? What is the deep? And what is the water? Are those elements that were before the creation? Or, as we're about to see in the Babylonian Talmud, those elements also were created on the first day, since God created the world from nothing. Now it's a difference since in the biblical reading, it seems to be that there were elements before. In the Babylonian Talmud, there is a different reading, and of course, I can understand why. I think in order to make God even greater than he is, you must give him another power by saying that from the beginning, he created everything. It's all relates to him, and nothing were before, except of the disorder or Tohu Vavohu that we can say we have a mess in the world, and God organized and created and did order in the world. Now let us move to the verses that relate to Tohu Vavohu. And I must say, by the way, just something that from a thought of a lecturer, when I started to make the syllabus of course 20, so before I thought that I would do in the first class the first story of creation and then the second story of creation, and then of course we can compare and move to other sources in the Bible that are related to the creation. But then I said to myself, wait a minute, before speaking about all the story of creation, let's just take the first day, because the first day is giving us many directions of thoughts and questions that maybe are the main question of the Bible. Just one thing that I forgot to mention, it's really important for me. When we look at the word Bereshit, so when I copy the text, so it's not the first size, but the first letter bet that is here should be larger. This is how it appears in the books when you read it. Pay attention to the shape of the letter bet, which is only one direction, only forward. Only the left side is open, and the letter bet, it's the second letter after the letter Aleph, which is related, of course, to the name of God. So this is also...
Make a comment?
Yeah, of course, Betach. Claire, how are you?
I'm good, Tadaraba. Thank you. The bait, I noticed that in my Tanakh, it's larger and it opens to the left. But if you think of north, south, east, and west, the top of the bet is north and the bottom of it is south and east and west. It comes from the east and faces open towards the west. I thought that was interesting, and it faces towards the beginnings and toward God and towards creation. I mean, even the shape and the position of the letters is interesting in that. That was my comment.
And another thing that also is a kind of midrash, but it's really interesting, that Et is the letters Aleph until Taf. It's the Hebrew letters that were also created. This is the commentary of Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Lotzato, from the 18th century, if I recall. So there are many issues about those verses, and for that reason I decided to bring before we are starting to speak about one chapter and one story, just to speak about those 5 verses that gives us, the key to this beautiful gate. And as I said before in the European lecture, the idea itself is this. Even the shape of the letter bet, as Claire mentioned, you're entering to a gate, you're entering to a world which is new, which is different, which is special, and you're not coming back. You're going forward for a magical mystery tour and an endless story, as we're saying all the time. And it's not, I think it's not a coincidence. This is the magical moments of this story. When you enter to this gate, you can see many, many beautiful things, and it starts from the beginning. So I just wanted to mention, to speak with you about those elements that are really important. And now let us continue. Just one moment. Okay. When I try to understand the expression tohu vavohu, when we have a word in the Bible that appears only one time, so we try to understand the context. But when there is an expression or word that appears few times, let's check this word in the Bible. And then from the other appearances, let's try to understand it. So I would like to say hello to a dear friend that we really missed, Clancy. How are you, dear friend? Can you hear us?
Very well, thank you.
How are you feeling?
Very well. I'm glad to be here. I miss being here. I was just
Thank
too
you.
busy and part-time sick and my animal sick, and right now everything's looking up.
We are really, really happy that you are here, dear friend, and welcome back. And you're more than welcome to read to us the verses from Isaiah.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Laila vayomam lo tikbe le olam ya'ale ashana midor lador tekerav le netzach nezaki el en over ba vayeresh. Let me start over. Ve reshit ka'at ve pot od vayan shof ve rev yishkenu, that's right, yishkenu va venata aleha ki tohu ve'ab ne bohu. No, it's bohu.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Yefé meod, yefé meod. And what we can see here is when we see the expression tohu vavohu in separate, but it's really close to each other, we can see a context of destruction, of something that no one is moving there. Only few animals that are going to be there. So we try to understand that the expression tohu vavohu relates to something, that a place that suffered destruction, a place that we can see people there. There is all the time, as we can see, smoke shall rise all the time. Le'olam ya'aleh hashana. So this takes us to a place, of course, that there is no order there. And let's see what is written in Jeremiah in order to understand. And I brought all the verses, and not just verse 23, First of all, because a really beautiful literal thing, as you can see, verses 23, 4, 5, and 6 starts with the word Ra'iti. This is what we're calling anaphora. And the other thing, and I think when you read all the context, you understand better the expression of Tov Vavo. So for this adventure, I would ask dear Victor to read. Clancy, thank you very much for joining and welcome back. תודה רבה רבה.
Hello. Where's the Ellie? I don't see where you said Tova. The part that you're saying. What did you say? Tova something?
I'm sorry, I said Tovavo.
Yeah, Tovavo. Where is that? Where is the Tovavo?
You can see it here.
Oh, there it is. Tovavo. Okay, I see it. Tovavo. Okay, I see. Okay, let me start. He, Avil, Ami, Oti, Lo, Yadav, Dau, Banim, Sakalim, Hama, Valo, Na, Vonim, Hema, Hakamim, Hema, Bahara, U, Eti, Lo, Yadav. How do you say that? Yadav?
Yadau.
Yadav.
This is a pausal form, and for that reason it's Yadau and not Yadu. The last word of the sentence, and creates a difference in the music and in the reading.
Okay. Ra'iti et haaretz vahine tohu vavohu va'er hashamayim va'en oram. Ra'iti he harim vahine ra'shani ro ashim v'kol hadbaot hit kalu. Ra'iti ha vahine en ha'adam v'kol op hashamayim na dadu. Ra'iti vahine ha-kormel ha-midbar v'kol arav nitzu mipne Adonai mipne charon apol.
Excellent, and it's really important. First of all, this passage relates to the people of Israel when we're speaking about their behavior, their religious behavior, and it starts from this moment that the people doesn't know God. They didn't understand. We can see the expression banim, as in Isaiah, banim gidalti veromamti ve'em pashu bi, also here. And when God described the land, so there is an expression which is really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. First of all, we can see the expression tovavo in verse 23. But pay attention that in verse 23 we can see also the word eretz and shamayim, which takes us back to Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Also, there is no light there. Takes us back to the verse that we're about to read, verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, when we read the Tovavo here, it's a place that because of the sins of the people, because the nature and the man and the birds and the animals are not there, or they are there but they are disordered, and it's of course because the anger of God, and we can see that the cities are ruined. So this takes us first of all to understand the expression Tovavo as something that is not organized, or something which is ruined and must be fixed or must be organized. But this takes us also to something which is really important of understanding the Big Bang theory, since there is, we can't avoid the science. And if you take the Jewish time, so the creation of the world was before 5,779 years, soon to be 5,780. But there is a midrash that said that God created and ruined worlds, and this is actually the last creation, actually, that He is satisfied. Hopefully, that He is satisfied with us. And this is a way to deal with the Big Bang theory. It doesn't mean that there was no Big Bang, but it said that the creation, when we read Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, so this is the last world and not the first world. There were worlds before the last world, which is the time that we are living now, that started 5,779 years ago. So it's really, really important to understand this. It takes the explanation and take the scientific theory and not to put it aside, but to, in a holistic way, to accept it, but also to accept the theory time that we have here. Yes, Victor, what you wanted to share with us?
Oh, just a little comment. The verse says they are quaking, the mountains. Yeah, about a month ago, there was a big earthquake where I live in Ridgecrest here in California. Big 7.1 earthquake. So it's a very relevant verse for me. And my question is, so the Jewish calendar is 5,790. Is that the oldest civilization, the Jewish civilization?
I won't say Jewish civilization, but according to the Jewish tradition, this is actually the time of creation. The world was created 5,779, but there is an understanding that there are also other theories, and we know that even from archaeology, we know that we had people in the world before. And it's really important when you try to face those theory, the theory that God created and destructed worlds, and this is the last creation and not the first one, helps you to deal with this theory that there was a Big Bang and there were people before. And this Tovavo, by the way, it was created because of the disorder of the former worlds that we had. Now, this is an approach, of course. I think that this is not the million-dollar question of this chapter. When was the world created? Because though it's interesting, I won't say it's not interesting, but the question is not when we were created or when the world was created, is what happened from the creation of the world, whether it was the first world or whether it's the last world that we have, but this is the time that we're living. So what we're doing with what is written in the text, how we deal with this text, how we take this text and make the Torah vivid and make the Torah as a part of our life. And by the way, and it doesn't matter where we are standing from our religious, from our point of view. And I think one of the things that I really enjoyed here in Bible Eli is that there are the moments that you are a teacher, but there are many moments that you are a student. As you can see, the interesting discussion that we have here also in the chat box about the first verses that we spoke from John, and I think that this is the beautiful thing that due to technology we can. This is a discussion that I couldn't have 20 years ago or 25 years ago. So
You think? I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
So the Tovavo, I noticed that the letters Tovavo have many similar letters to like Yod He Vav He, the God, Adonai. Do you think maybe there's a similarity between Tovavo and Yod He Vav He, like Adonai?
You can see the Hey and the Vav there. There is an explanation about the letter Aleph, that in the letter Aleph, if you can see the Yod there, and also the Vav, so it also relates to the name of God. This is something, of course, which is really interesting. It's I would say more Kabbalistic or more spiritual to look at the shape of the letters, as we've done before, by the way, with the letter Bet, that there is only one direction. In Tov Vavo, you can see A and Vav, of course, but you can see the Yod and you can see the Yod there. But it's really interesting that the letters are really similar. In any case, Victor, thank you very, very much for reading. I would love to read the discussion in the chat box just after the class. It's really, really interesting to see the approaches that we have here. And let us see what we can see here. And coming back to Claire. Claire, how are you? Everything is okay?
Hi, הכל בסדר, תודה. ואתה?
אני בסדר גמור, thank you very much, and this verse is for you.
תודה. ויאמר אלוהים יהי אור ויהי אור.
יפה מאוד. And we can see here a saying which is in many understanding a thought, not just a saying, or even just a thought. Sometimes when you are saying to yourself,
this was the song that they won Eurovision with one year, wasn't it? Yehi Or?
Sorry?
This was the song that Israel won Eurovision with one year, Yehi Or? Some years ago.
Trying to remember if there was.
I was on a train traveling to Melbourne, and there's a fellow across the passageway talking on his mobile phone, and I recognized the language. And then they turned the lights on in the carriage, and I turned to him and said, "Wayehi Or." He thought that was very funny.
I will try to remember when it was in the Eurovision. I will just check it in a few more moments in the internet. Just try to remember who sang this song. There is also something that, as to me, just try to find it. In any case, what we can see is a thought God is thinking to himself, and then he commanded Yehi O, and then we can see how the commandment is there. It happened by Yehi O. So in 6 words, we can see a world. We can see the light. By the way, next week we're going to speak about the question. We're not going to answer it now, so it's going to be just for thought. If we have a light here, so how the lights came, or the great light came only on the 4th day? How can we explain this this difference?
There is an explanation.
Yeah, but don't answer it now. For next week. There are also always explanation. This is something which is good. And also when we can say that the time started, how we can count time. Is it from the first day or not? So this is also
can we talk about the Yom? Is it 24 hours period, or it's some millions of years could be? So you plan to do it next week or now?
I would bring it next week, and I would bring there are different commentaries about the word Yom, whether it's a year, whether it's 1,000 years. There are Psalms, I think, in one of the Psalms that there is an understanding that this is 1,000 years. Thank you, Alex. Toda rabba. So let's see, after the thought, the commandment, and the appearance of the light, what happened. And for this, let's ask dear Sharon to read to us. Sharon, how are you, dear friend?
Good. Dan's getting better, and I'm still going to pottery class. That was my outlet while I was taking care of him. But things are going okay now. And he said I can come to Israel this fall. So I'll be coming back.
Yeah, we're waiting for you, and I'm really happy that everything is okay.
Yeah, me too. Okay, you want me to read 4 and 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Vayar Elohim at Haor Kito Vayavdel Elohim ben Haor uben Hakoshek Vayikra Elohim Laor Yom Valechashek Kara Laila Vayhi Boker Yom Echad.
ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד. Excellent. יפה, יפה, כל הכבוד. Thank you very much. And what we can see here, first of all, that God gave a grade to his creation, to the creation of the light. It was good. Then there is a distinction between light and what is not light, which is darkness. The darkness is maybe the lack of light. Maybe it's another element that was from the beginning. And it's not just a distinction by saying that there is a distinction, it's also by names and also eventually in time. So Or is Yom and Choshech is Laila. Pay attention, Vaikra Elohim Laor Yom, used in one verbal form, in the Vaiktol form, Vaikra. And to the darkness, there is a usage of the word in the verbal form Katal, Kara. Reminds me in Cain and Abel's story, Vayi Cain ve'evel haya, or Vayi Evel ve'Kain haya, sorry. There is also a distinction there in the being form, in the be form. One is Vaiktol and the other is Katal, so also here. And something which is really interesting, that the day in Judaism starts at night, and not at evening and not in morning. So now it's the evening of Shishi, and tomorrow it's going to be the evening of Shabbat. We're calling it Erev Shabbat. Then actually Shabbat starts, and of course there is Motzei Shabbat after Shabbat ends, and this is actually the evening of Sunday. So this is something which is really interesting. Not all the Jewish commentaries agreed about the perception of time like this, but it's written here Erev and then Voker. So this is something which is really interesting. By the way, if you can see something that I just pay attention, there is a kind of a chiastic structure there. When with the darkness, which is night, we can see the Erev, and with the light of which is a day, we can see the Boker. This is also something which is really interesting from this story. By the way, it's Yom Echad and not Yom Rishon, because only when there is a second day you can say that there is a first day. As only when there was World War II we can say that there was World War I.
So it's an interesting point here. So that time there was no division, yeah, for such time periods like days.
Yeah, and as you said before, Alex, the explanation of one day of 24 hours, it's only one option. Was it here 24 hours? I'm not sure. And
so
by the way, I'm not sure.
To check some verses where that term Yom used, so then we can realize in what sense it's used. Yeah.
And I think which is really important to understand that there is no one answer for how much time is a day here. This is, I think, the main idea, because it doesn't matter if it's 24 hours, 1 year, or 1,000 years. When you don't know exactly the time, you can count exactly, and you can't measure it. And maybe this is another mystery. And I think that a good story is a story that is not giving you all the answers for all your questions. This is, I think, what's so...
Two perceptions here. One, it's for God, who has no time, and he does not need to count it. And the second, it's for us because we need time. Yeah, so
I agree with you.
yeah.
I agree with you. It's a beautiful statement what you're saying here, because that not all the things that we need, God needs. And I think I would say it's things that we need are things that God doesn't need, because He was there always. He's eternal, so He doesn't have to count. And since we are here for a time which is measured, hopefully more until 120 and even more, maybe with technology. But it's of course not eternity, it's not endless. I wanted to bring to you a few more verses that gives other perspective about what was before the creation. One of the first things that I brought is from Proverbs 8 that starts, Halo chokhma tikra utvuna titen kola. This is how it starts. And then in verse 22, it's written, Adonai kanani reshit darko kedem mif'ala me'az. That means that the wisdom was from the beginning. And this is something which is spiritual, something which is abstract, but it was there. מעולם ניסחתי מראש מקדמי ארץ, באין תהומות חוללתי, before even there was the deep, באין מעיינות נכבדי מים, before there was water, בטרם הרים הוטבעו, לפני גבעות חוללתי, עד לא עשה ארץ וחוצות, וראש אפרות תבל. It continues that until verse 31 you can read about the wisdom that was with God. Yes,
Eli,
Victor?
and you know that wisdom, it's in Greek logos. So it's a direct connection between John 1:1 and Proverbs here.
Thank you very, very much. It's a really, really good point. And Victor also
So-
raised his hand. Yes, Victor?
So it says wisdom is raising her voice. So wisdom is a female. So does that mean in the beginning there was a female? Like in the very, very beginning? Because isn't it? Because wisdom, in Proverbs is always like a female voice. And if she said the Lord created me at the beginning of his course, first of his works of old, does that mean there's like a female gender somewhere in the beginning, the very, very beginning?
It could be, and also we're speaking, of course, the Shekhinah, and we're speaking, of course, about Chokhmah, and another interesting idea, as you're about to see now, is in Genesis Rabbah, which is a midrash from the 5th century, after Common Era. It's written, כך היה הקדוש ברוך הוא מביט בתורה ובורא את העולם, והתורה אמרה בראשית ברא אלוהים, ואין ראשית אלא תורה. So it's not something which is abstract, it's something which is more specific. The Torah was from the beginning. It was there. And the Torah is also in the feminine gender.
Oh,
And-
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is something that brings you to the understanding that, of course, Elohim, when we think about Elohim, the gender is in plural. It's in masculine plural, but it's in plural. So what is this plural? What is it?
Like the Trinity or something? Like the Trinity?
Yeah, of course, this is the Christian explanation, and it's a beautiful one, I must say, the Trinity. And from the Hebrew point of view, it could be or to give an honor for God and to give him the plural form in order to honor him. But when you think about the plural, so the plural must have at least two. And the feminine and the masculine sides, as we can see here, one is from the verbal form, one is from something which is more abstract, the Chokhmah, the Torah, which is beautiful. And the last thing that I brought you, as I promised, from the Babylonian Talmud, is in order to try to answer the question about the elements that were in before the creation or before God created. So in the Babylonian Talmud Chagiga, Rabbi Judah said the word of Rab, 10 things were created on the first day. 10 דברים נבראו ביום ראשון, ואלו הן שמיים וארץ, תוהו ובוהו, אור וחושך, רוח ומים, מידת יום ומידת לילה, שמיים וארץ. This brings you that even the disorder and even the light and the darkness, of course the light was there, but the darkness, the water was created also. And this, I think, in order to claim that there was nothing before God created. In order to take this perception and to bring it to the world, though that in Genesis 1 and Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2, or especially Genesis 1:2, we can understand that there were elements before the creation. So this is in a nutshell, of course, about very, very important questions. And I'm really, really happy to bring it to you. Okay, so first of all, dear friends, thank you very much about the important discussion that we had on the chat box. I wish that Jackie could speak so we can listen her voice. But in any case,
I think you can hear me.
Ah, okay, Yofi. Because before we couldn't. So Jackie, can you explain just since Rod explained? Ah, excellent. Can you explain in few words the approach of that you think that Yeshua was always there, since Rod and Alex they had their time of explanation, and I want to hear also yours.
Well, the traditional Christian belief is that Jesus Christ is eternal and that he is God. So not to believe that, you cannot be a Christian, because Jesus Christ cannot be the Savior of the world if he is a created being. And anything that's created is not God. The only thing that's eternal is God. So if it's created, it's not God. And if it's not God, he can't be the Savior.
And the other approach that Rod tried to explain, what can you explain it also in your words?
What approach is that?
That there was a creation, that the word, which Adava, which means Yeshua, also was created. This is another approach. Yes?
Well, if you go to John 1, where you were, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. And then verse 14 says, and the Word, that same Word that was in the beginning, was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So you have to put all those together, I think.
Okay. So thank you very, very much, dear friends, for the interesting discussion. And thank you very much, Jackie. I didn't think that I thought that you had a problem with the headphones. So next week you are going to be the one that would read for us from the beginning.
No, I had to sign in through the phone because for some reason the microphone on the computer, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's never done that before.
Oh,
sometimes it
happens. The technologies always bring us adventures.
Ellie,
thank
just
you.
a small Greek lesson. John 1:1 ends with kai theos en hologos. The theos, which is in the predicate in a nominative case, does not have the definite article.
But in the translation that I have, we have the definite article.
Yeah, that's been put in by Trinitarians who can't think beyond the square.
No, even on a Hebrew text, what I've read, the Genesis.
Rod, that's not a very nice thing to say, because I am a Trinitarian, and it's not nice to say things like that, because I didn't say anything like that about you. I take great offense to that. Because
Well,
I
I'm
believe the
sorry
Bible,
too,
and I
but
don't believe
that's-
man-made doctrines.
I'm just pointing out what the Greek actually says.
I don't
And it
have the Greek
says
before me to know if you're correct or not, and I don't read Greek.
Theos.
Okay, so first of all, difference. Many thanks for the discussion, and thank you for giving your approach. Rod, if you can send to us the Greek in their email, so we will be able to see, and of course to continue the discussion. And it's really important, dear friends, as we know, all of us are coming from our world, from our approaches. Let's not forget that the main thing here in our class is, of course, everyone can have their opinion, but let's enjoy to do it and to bring everyone approach in a good way, in a tolerant way, since this is, I think, the main idea of our goal here. So I hope that everyone are okay, and many thanks for joining here. Next week we are going to continue with the first story of creation. We're going to see all the story, and it's really important, since when you see the whole story, you can understand how the first day gives you a kind of a model that will go and follow us in the next days. As promised, we're going to speak also about days, what is the meaning of a day, and also about the question that we are not going to answer now, but next week: if there was a light on the first day and there is a great light on the fourth day, so when there was a light, or is it a different light? So this is for next week. Many thanks for joining, and I hope that all of you enjoyed, and may God bless all of you, and have a great weekend. Don't forget to send me the verses, please, as I remind you, 5 different verses that you want to dedicate to your friends, to your family. Victor and Della already got. Doug will get the last verses. I'm just waiting for an email for him.
Can you just publish one of mine? I gave you 5, but just publish one. I just want one published. I emailed you.
Okay, so I would read. If you don't want me to publish something, just let me know. And if you want me to publish all or some of them, please let me know. It's really important. So because I'm bringing it to YouTube, and I'm going to send you the links, and you can also bring it to your Facebook walls, the other social media that you have. So please let me know, so I will do it correctly. Thank you very much, dear friends. As always, it's been a pleasure. Jackie, thank you very much, and all of you. And have a Shabbat Shalom from Israel. Thank you very much.
Shabbat Shalom. Toda.
I love
Shabbat
being here. Just thought
Thank
I'd
you
say
very
that.
much.